we're talking about niches today. Now I'll end up saying this again because we'll end up with people later. I'm going to go over a little bit about the importance of a niche, how to select one, different ways to look things up, and then how to start to build out your customer avatar. Okay. And the importance of some of those things. I'm not today going to get into like Business Manager and get into Facebook and show you that, because I had a meeting with Blake last night, talked to him a little bit about that. They're putting together a new training for it. But in the meantime, I'm also going to get one of the accelerator coaches, and a lot of you guys have seen the videos for accelerators. So I'm going to get one of those coaches. I'm going to bring him on live, and we're going to do an extra little training on one of the high performance calls sometime in the next week and a half. I kind of need to set up a schedule with him and get that done. Does that sound okay? Well, I'll have him come on and kind of share his screen and go through, some of that and introduce you guys to a few other members of the team behind the scenes. So when we do that, I will let you know, but at the same time, I may just bring him on. And if that's the case, be here as often as you can. It's going to be better for you that way.
Be prepared always.
Yeah, be prepared. We're here to drop value bombs. That's what it's all about. So, okay. To kick off, I need questions that you guys may have concerning selecting a niche, looking, niche or avatar questions. And if you don't know what the avatar is, that's fine. I'm going to get into that. So niche and avatar questions, drop them into the chat. And as we go through, guys, feel free. If you've got a question, it'll be a good time to ask. Okay. I'm more than willing to answer. I plan on today going a little bit long. Go ahead, Paul.
Should we write the questions on the chat here, or?
It's going to be easier if they're in the chat, because then everybody will be able to see it, and I can try and flow along. And if you put it into the chat and I miss it after a little while, because there are some that I may end up covering in a little bit, and there we go. Does that make sense? Are we clear for the most part where we're at, what's going on, what we're doing? We're getting into niche, target audience, avatars, all that kind of fun stuff. So, all right. Let me ask you guys and get kind of some of your feedback to see where you guys understand what you think. Why is it important to select a niche? Renee, you got it also. Go ahead.
To have a starting point.
Yep. Okay. Have a starting point. Good. Decide on target people who want to be coached or people that want to.
Kind of helps you get to your target market and develop who you're going to actually advertise to. So finding your niche and what you're good at really helps promote your business.
Right. Perfect. Yep. So you can become an authority in that niche. Absolutely. To focus. So to begin with, to reemphasize something. Okay. And this was something Blake and I were talking about last night. And he talks about it in the long webinar and the short one, like over and over and over again. What you guys have with the partner program is an opportunity to go to business owners. Business owners right now are looking for ways to generate leads. Mm-hmm. The products that you have within the partner program will solve that issue for them. Okay. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Business Owner, here you go. Here's training on how to get leads for your business. Right. And there's some other things that, when you get a little further along, we'll talk about inside the business strategy or before that, everything else. But this is, you're taking products to them and say, hey, Mr. Locksmith. And when I say you're talking to them, guys, I'm talking about ads and content. Okay. If you ever want to do real phone calls to businesses, sure, by all means, go for it. I hate cold calls. I've had to do them in the past. I don't ever want to do them. Most people decide they want to work online so they don't have to do that. So, okay. So when I say talking, this is what I'm talking about. Got it? Are we clear there? I know that's something silly to have to point out, but I've had that question a couple of times recently, and yes, you're working online, so you don't actually talk with people. So this is what we're doing. So now when we're deciding on a niche, we're deciding on a type of business that we are going to focus on to say, hey, Mr. Roofer, Mr. Home Repair, Mr. or Mrs. Massage therapist, or this or that or the other, you need leads. Let me show you how, right? Are we all clear on that? Yes. Mm-hmm. Any questions on that? Right. And I say that because Yeah. So Karina, holistic therapist, that's good. So massage therapist, yoga instructor, that's fantastic because you're not selling a yoga course or a meditation course. You're going after the people that are selling that, right? Are we clear there? Does anybody have any questions on that? Because, and again, guys, no stupid question. Okay. There's no stupid questions. The only stupid one is the one you don't ask. All right. All right. So let me roll up a little bit. To choose a niche, decide on the target people who want to be coached. So yeah, you're going after people that need that, businesses that need the help. Okay. So Paul, we are going to get into avatar. How do you research the niches effectively? Good. I'm going to talk about that. So Spencer, this goes to, so if we're looking at meditation and chakras, et cetera, this goes to what Karina put there a minute ago. You're going to target the people that are providing that service with the partner program, right? Now, if you decide, guys, if you decide you want to sell your own coaching or you want to sell your own product to help people better themselves in that way, or you've got a health product that you want to sell, or you've got t-shirts that you want to sell, that's great. These same strategies will work. And what I'm talking about here will work in selling that. That's not the purchased product that you have with the partner program. Tremendous amount of alliteration there. Well done. I got through the whole sentence. So are we clear there? Does that make sense? Yes? No? Yes? Okay, good. Focus, become authority, narrow down, be more specific. Yeah. Can we choose more than one niche? Yes, but not at the very beginning. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to dive into that. How specific do we want to get? Good question. Looking at personal development, coaching, healing. So all of those I think could fit into one, right? Okay. I'm going to share some slides because some of these might be in there. Okay. Yes, the business can be 100% online. There are no geographical limits. It can be worldwide. Most of these, well, the products that we have currently are in English. If you want to translate them to a different language, that's fine. But English speakers all over. But people who want to coach does not need the leads. Correct, Joanna. So you would be going after the coach who doesn't know how to get leads, right? Not the individual looking to get coached, not the person looking to get their car opened. Not right? Does that make sense, everybody? Mm-hmm. Are we clear on that? I want to make sure because that's important. All right. Now, why do we get into a niche? Let me kind of dive in here. All right. And I know some of you guys are typing in there. So right now, as I'm sharing my screen, if you need to say something that's specific, at least to what I've got on here, please try and pop on in that way. Okay. So it's better to choose a small haystack and more needles than a big haystack with hardly any needles, right? You can't go too broad. If you go too broad, your marketing it's going to tank. Okay. So that's why we say go with the niche. And I say this because a lot of times people go, well, I don't want to limit who I'm talking to. No, at the beginning, you want to select a niche and get specific, and you can get pretty damn specific and it'll still work. So let me kind of keep going along here. Some ideas. Now you can, again, jot some of these down, take a screenshot, or I can provide later on the, I'll provide you guys the slides if you really want them. But if you're going to ask for the slides, please still take notes. It'll be helpful, I promise. So some ideas here, why it's good. It helps you concentrate your efforts, right? You are setting yourself up as the credible expert. So this helps you connect with you get one type of audience. So you're not trying to connect with every single person, right? It's just like an algorithm in Netflix and Amazon, everywhere else. It starts to, speak to a certain type of audience. They know what you like. And so they're promoting things that kind of fit that. So as far as, there were a couple of questions about what is the best niche, and there are so many available. Yes, there are. So I'm going to dive into some of that. Okay. Clear direction, simplifying. Good. Focusing on one. So this is important to remember though. Focusing on one niche doesn't stop your business from growing. Okay. Because you've got the opportunity with the funnel here once you pass 10K in revenue, and none of you guys started this just to get to 10K. So just as a general rule, and for those of you guys that have been on more than one of these calls, me enough of my personality, how I talk. So here you go, right? Quit bitching and moaning about not having more than one niche at the very beginning, because you guys wouldn't be able to handle the marketing to begin with. Start with one, get to 10, go past that, and then select another one. None of you started to only get to 10K, right? Did anyone start to make less than that?
No.
Anybody? No? Are we good?
Nope.
So everybody's going past that. So select another one later on, deal with it. Now, the question that I get sometimes, what if I start a niche and it doesn't work? Well, then it's not the niche, it's the marketing. If you do the stuff that I'm going to show you here, you'd have to ignore completely the teaching that Blake gives you and the teaching that I'm giving you and the other stuff that we've got available to you. If you ignore what we teach you, then you won't hit that and your niche will suffer. Okay. That's how your niche will suffer. And I say that because I have seen people sell stuff that like all sorts of different things to all sorts of different niches and hit like sales numbers in a very specific niche that you would go, how in the hell did they generate that with that niche? It's there, guys. It really is. You just got to become the expert there, right? It doesn't have to be the biggest haystack. Find that, smaller haystack with a lot of needles. That's what you're going after, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good. Everybody still with me? Yes. All right.
Yes.
Let me scroll through some of these questions. Because how do I define the category? Okay. So I'm going to show that. How do they police the niches? Andrew, what do you mean by policing the niches?
Well, as far as if you pick a niche and then all of a sudden you change it. I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to know because the different funnels or part of that.
You wouldn't be able to do that within the back office. And guys, part of this too, like, could you technically clone one and do it in your own ClickFunnels and stuff? Sure, if you want to be dishonest. Like, I mean, that's, you're paying for the intellectual property rights of something that Blake and his team have put together, and like the value that you guys get for the price is stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, you want to start an online business, you want, like, the amount of time and effort that I put into developing different things, and we were having this conversation last night, like, it's worth it. So just follow the rules, because you also don't want to come back and where they go, oh no, because here's the other side of that. Like, they've got a pretty good relationship with ClickFunnels. Don't screw them over, because then you run into trouble in other places. I'm not saying, Andrew, that you're doing that, because you and another guy on this call, you guys have the best names on the planet, so why would you do something like that, right? So
I don't plan
anyway.
on, that's not my intention. I was just curious about that.
But once you hit that level and just have the conversation, hey, I hit 10, I'm ready for another one, right? So I hear a lot of folks just in this class that seem to be going after the same niche. So there are so many, like, we're talking about healing, right? Or motivation or coaching. That niche is so, like, think about now versus 20 years ago. And, to be effective, I was talking with Dara earlier today. Depending on what your top, let's assume you decide, hey, with the accelerator, and then we've got, like, Blake has the DFY funnel that you can offer to people that you could sell for $1,000, right? $997 offer. 80 of those sold in a month. 80 of those sold, it hits you $1 million annually. 80, not 8,000, 80, right? So depending on how big your audience has to be, like, I've seen people do, your audience, you want it to be big enough, but not too big, right? Does that make sense? And Matt, does that kind of make sense for you? Like, the niches have more than enough space. I don't care how many people get into it. Like, there's more than enough to generate the revenue for you, So, okay.
I was asking because I've sold on Amazon before, and the particular product that I was selling, it became super saturated, and it was.
Well, so that's
what's
what
I was asking.
Between,
yeah.
No, it's a great point. So what's the difference in selling on Amazon and having a niche like that versus what we're doing? Be it Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc.
Right.
What's the difference?
I don't know. Tell me.
Guys, what's the difference?
There's 100 million businesses out there that need our help.
And that's just who have, those are just the people that actually have a Facebook.
We only sell service, not the merchandise.
Right. And so here's the thing. And Amazon controls that algorithm, right?
Mhm.
Right.
You know, and with social media, so it's a different buyer habit selling on Amazon versus selling on Facebook, right? Like if you sold on Amazon, did you also have like a Shopify drop shipping, or were you 100% through Amazon?
I was 100% FBA. Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I've got Amazon, I've got
I was at their mercy.
And then, so here's the thing though, guys, like people, when they're on Facebook, especially if you're targeting business owners, and if you decide you're going to do LinkedIn, and hey, by the way, sometime down the road, we'll do some LinkedIn stuff, but it's different interaction. You're building a relationship. Like there's more to it than if I go to Amazon as a consumer. I go to Amazon to look something up and purchase it, right? Or to look something up to add it to my cart. Even if I'm standing in a store, I'm going to pull out my Amazon app and I'm going to scan it to see if I can get it cheaper on Amazon. We were at Disney the other day and we were walking through different stores, and that's exactly what we were doing, right? Can I get this cheaper on Amazon? On Facebook, and with your marketing and your targeting, you're getting in front of people, and that's part of what we're going to talk about with your niche and how to get in front of that niche. You're going after a specific type of individual, like you're interacting with them kind of through that ad, right? So can it get saturated? Maybe. Is it likely? Not really. And if it gets a little more saturated, what do you need to do? Get better at your marketing copy. Because here's the reality. A lot of the saturation that's out there, guys, 30 to 40% of them are going to fall away within the next 6 to 12 months. People that are going to start are going to quit, right? So the question is are you one of the ones that's going to quit because you go, oh, my niche didn't work, or are you going to keep at it and just get better? Because those are the ones that make it, right? Blake, again, the conversation last night, we were talking about one funnel that they had started and like the hassle that they were like testing ads and doing this and that. And then, you know, constantly coming back, you know, at the end of the day, trying something. And guys, this is the reality of things. Like they've put in to get this so it works, but like where over and over is like, man, I want to quit. I don't want to do this one. Let's pick something else. And they kept at it until it got there. And now it's generated seven figures. So was it worth the headache? Yeah, but a lot of people would have given up and just, oh, squirrel, oh, this didn't work. Oh, I need to try that, right? Or the excuse that I hear sometimes, like all of those trials, I just, you know, it wasn't meant to be. The Lord pushed it, you know, you push it in a different direction. He was telling me something else. No, I mean, he's just telling you, you know, do you really want it? He's trying you out, whether you believe in that, you know, in God or not. Guys, sometimes it just takes a little bit more work. That's the difference between people that crush this and those that don't. Paul, go ahead.
So that meaning is basically if your niche is not working and, you know, you're not selling as much you should be selling, that meaning you're not following the coaching and training to the core.
Yeah.
Am I getting that right?
Yeah. And you can improve, like, especially Paul, we've talked about your niche. Like there's no reason it's advertising, headline marketing, and keeping at it. You've got a niche that should absolutely be incredibly profitable, and you can double dip. And some of you guys have talked about it, guys. That's always one of those things. Actually, I'm going to get back to my slides because I want to keep going. So yes. All right. So you can take what you learn though, and you can apply it to other niches, right? A little bit more here. Your goal is not only to make sales, you're looking to build yourself, your brand, into being an expert in the niche. Right? If you go in and it's just, am I making sales right now? Yes, we want to make sales. Absolutely. But guys, you want to establish yourselves as an expert in the niche. That includes constantly redefining you and really getting to where you can serve smaller and more defined niches. Because at some point, some of you guys with these big, hairy, audacious goals, you know, you're going after the $500K or $1 million or more. Some of you guys have those goals. I'm totally cool with that. You're probably going to want to add in some other type of things that serve your audience so that you can generate more revenue. As long as you're serving the audience and they see you as the expert, they'll be willing to spend that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know, Tim Ferriss is a great example of this. He's got his, you know, he's got products that he sells. He's got books that he sells. He's done coaching. He's done, you know, he's got his podcast. People follow all of it. Brendon Burchard's the same way. Every book that comes out, I buy that guy's book. I've been to his events. I paid for his coaching. I paid for, the online stuff because I love his content. Whatever he comes out with, I'm like, yeah, this will serve me because I'll learn. That's how you want to establish yourself. Now that takes time to do. It doesn't happen overnight. So this is building up to larger goals than just, $5,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
But even at the beginning, right? So when I say e-commerce, I'm just talking about online marketing here, guys. I'm not just, I don't mean drop shipping. Anything we're selling online, we're doing e-commerce, right? Everything that you do that once you select that niche, your brand is going to revolve around it, which means your messaging. And then you're going to start to build a target audience based on that niche's qualities and the pain points. So I've spent time before talking about branding and direct response marketing. It comes back to that over and again. If you guys have it, it's one of the recorded high performance calls, middle of November. November 13th and 16th are those 2 calls. So if you haven't watched those yet, you should watch those. Okay. Everybody good on that? November 13th through the 16th. If you don't have that document, ask your accountability rep for the doc with the recorded high performance calls on there. All right. So 10 largest e-commerce markets. So this goes to, I can't remember. Somebody asked about the markets and where you should look. People spend money. This is in the billions, right? Every year, people spending this on e-commerce. And this was last year, so this number's higher now. Okay? People spend money online. That's the only reason I'm showing that. Where's the chat? There it is. Okay. Is it better to brand ourselves instead of branding in the specific niche? Will you brand yourself and part of that brand becomes niche specific, right? Does that make sense, guys? That message? So one of the first things you do, follow your passion. Now, you don't necessarily have to be passionate about it, but pick something you like. If you're a guy that hates automotive or construction or what, like, don't pick something you don't like. Okay. I know that sounds easy, but just don't. Okay. And don't argue with me on that. Sorry. Paul, yeah.
You think it's as a construction contractor, renovation contractor can be niche as well?
Yeah, I think home repair contractor. Yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah, because part of it, guys, is understanding, and we'll talk about this. You're going after the audience, the business. Mm-hmm. So, how much is one of their customers worth? If they can generate a lead, how much is that customer worth? Right? Is it a handyman that's only doing $100 jobs, or is it a contractor that any type of home repair is $3,000 to $50,000, right? Because they do a full kitchen remodel. So is it worth for them to
building
get more
the basement or things like that? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, start there. Now conduct some keyword research. I'm going to explain this a little bit more here in just a second. Okay. What if you have other businesses than a selected niche? Home brewing, you'd have to do the research. And so this is what I'm talking about. Joanna, you'll have to explain to me what you mean if you have other businesses than a niche.
I just noticed that, I haven't gone through all of Blake's videos, but a lot of it is you record yourself, you're using your Facebook page, so you're branding yourself to that niche. But what if you have other businesses? Like, what if you're in financial services in another business? And then what if you're starting up a coaching business? So, and you need your online presence for those businesses. But then, with Blake's instructions,
start a new Facebook page, start a new business page.
I'm actually having trouble because Facebook keeps deactivating my page, and then support's telling me it's because they think it's because you're only supposed to have only one Facebook account. So I'm actually experiencing
your normal page. You're only supposed to have one normal page.
Yeah, they did that to me as well.
But you can have as many business pages as you want.
Okay, I see. And is the business
There's a difference in a personal page and a business page.
Okay, is the business page free? Can we have?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Andrew.
But advertising costs money, right? It's free to set up and free to post content because you're going to do because you're going to do organic and advertising content. So all of this stuff, when we're talking about your target audience and building your brand and everything else, you do both. You run ads that get you leads faster, and you do organic that takes a bit longer, but there's other stuff, there's other benefits. So again, November 13th and 16th, branding, direct response marketing. I did overall, 90 minutes worth of training on that, right? So again, one personal profile, as many different ads as you want, but be careful too, right? And so most of you guys aren't in this space yet, but like I did, I've been admin on a number of different, accounts because of the digital agency stuff that I've done. And I went in there today on one of my business manager accounts, because I do have a couple, but on one of them, it's under review right now because one of the accounts that I used to manage that I no longer did, that I thought this is on me, 100% on me. I thought I had removed myself as an admin when we stopped doing business, but I was still on there. They ran some ads that they shouldn't have. So everybody that was an admin on that page has been flagged. So I went in and I removed myself and I've requested a review and it'll be open back up. I mean, I've got another one that can keep working, but you've got to pay attention to stuff like that, right? And going out when you run ads, yes, we have training on ads. So you don't just do it willy-nilly. You don't just write any kind of headline. You pay attention because it's a business now. So run it like a business. Okay, guys? And I say that just to kind of show, hey, occasionally you hit a hiccup and, it's kind of one of those, well, crap, now I got to do this. So it happens. So Matt, you'd have to, and I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to give you some ways to look this stuff up. You're talking about home brewing. I'm going to show you guys some ways to look this stuff up to decide if it's large enough and if there's enough juice behind it, right? Make sense? So Spencer, if you've got another one and you're looking to do both, I go into that inside the business strategy call with people. If you've got an extra business and you want to find a way to kind of leverage both together, I will talk with you about that one-on-one, because there are definitely ways to do that. And that's part of actually the next slide. If you've got a way, guys, as you start to build, you look at just around that category, how can I connect that to other things that's going to allow me to generate revenue?
Andrew, can you go back into the conduct some keyword search?
Yeah. So you start to look, there's different things, and I'm a couple of slides up. I'm going to show you kind of where to find some of this stuff. Okay. So look beyond the category. What I mean is like you've got your niche, and then, okay, what's going to be around it? This goes to the branding direct response and also the training I did on joint ventures and partnerships. Find other businesses that can help you get leads as well, right? When you're looking at your niche, look at the niches around it. Look at what's going on. Look at how they interact, right? Do research about your niche. So a couple of different ways to do that on Facebook. You set up a business account on Facebook, so you can go to any page, there's a place on there where you go to the page and it'll say, hey, create a new page. Yep, I'm going to create a business page. And then it just walks you through. So that's from your personal account, you'll create a business page. The business page doesn't necessarily have to show, Andrew David is that person, although I've got an Andrew David page, right? So this is how you're looking up your niches, how you're making this decision. You're going to look on, check on business.facebook. You start to look in the demographics. You're looking up target audience. Start to do that. They show you how to do that in the back office. We are going to update that video real soon, guys, for some new stuff. But because a couple people have said, hey, it's outdated. Yeah, but there's brand new ones on Facebook that show the exact same thing. So yes, we are going to update it. But guys, the information is there. You can find it. So look up, just on Facebook search. Start to look up those types of businesses. Get an idea. And it'll show you there's 100,000 businesses in the US. Look up, the worldwide, look up, groups, like just start looking that stuff up. Okay. Now, Google, I've got a couple of slides here. First one, go to Google Trends, go to Explore Topics, start looking there. Now, when you start to do, and you can, if you've got a Gmail account, it'll let you start to set up an AdWords account. You don't have to run ads right away to do anything on Google, but you can look things up that way. So it's a benefit. Google Trends. Now, here are some things that you can Google to get some ideas. If you're sitting there and you're going, I just don't know. These are just some simple things that I Googled, and the amount of articles and ideas and, top 50 businesses in 2020, top, 35 businesses to launch in 2021. Like, people are looking for this. Some people have these businesses already. This is just ways to look up businesses, guys. Right? I'm just giving you learn how to use Google. Like, because Google Trends and things like that, this now becomes part of what you're doing, right? Okay. Next, do a Google search of keywords related to your niche. You do that on the Google Trends or the ad keywords, right? And you're going to look up websites, articles, blogs, products. Now, competition is a good thing. I don't want to be the first person to market with an idea. Or if there's very few, the reason that there's very few is because the audience isn't big enough, or or the audience isn't passionate enough. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
If I see a ton of blogs and a ton of organizations and a ton of Facebook groups and, all of these things around a certain type of business, then I know there's going to be some heat behind it, some passion. Right? So like we're talking about holistic healing, or I don't know if he's still on here, but chiropractors, for example, like they're passionate about their business, right? Contractors, they are passionate, right? And they need leads. Like, look for businesses that have some juice behind them. Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, Andrew, is it okay to be passionate about the process of selling, improving your funnel, not necessarily about the niche itself? Yeah, absolutely. But you don't necessarily have to be passionate about the niche, but if you at least like the niche, it's going to help you with your content going forward. Because you got to post content, you got to write ads, you got to think about how they think. Like, all of those things are part of the game. And if you don't like the niche at all, you're going to get frustrated at some point. Because we're talking long term. I'm not here training you on how to get shit in the next 30 days. Okay? And I hope you guys understand that. We're talking long term and building an actual business that will last. Okay? We good there? All right.
Yes.
Now, so there you go with Google. Search for the keywords you already looked up. So you want to find a popular search term or niche or business. So people are looking for, those types of things. If it's got businesses nationwide, if it has, international juice, all of that thing, that's what you're looking for. Okay. So what's an avatar? These are things that you're looking for with an avatar, right? And now you guys have gotten to the point where you've decided this is my niche. This is the business I'm going after. Now I begin to create a profile of that business owner, not the end user, not the customer that's buying their services, them, right? So who is the specific buyer person you are trying to reach? Who is that business owner? You're going to get to know them, define them, and understand their behaviors. Okay. Now, why is this important? Why is your product important? Why are you offering this? What need of theirs are you fulfilling? This goes back to the branding direct response marketing that I did in mid-November. Promise, guys, if you put the two of these together, it will help you get a pretty solid foundation of what to do. Okay, and kind of create the message that you're going after. All right, before I dive a little more into avatar, let me see. Where's the training in the back office? So there's some training in there on selecting your niche, but there's going to be some updated. And then within the accelerator, message me afterwards, Lynn, because there's an updated one on niche in there. Okay, so starting to talk about avatar, starting to look at those questions, the who, the why, right? The needs and benefits. Any questions on that from anybody? We solid there. Everybody's awesome. We're rocking. We're good.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody's wake up.
Okay. So here are some things that you start doing. All right. Product research. This is what are they looking for? What products, so you kind of have some products that you're going to be delivering already, but what kind of thing are they looking for? And then the content marketing. So what type of blog posts, videos, like what are they going after? What are they looking at? This is all about them. This is not ideas on what you can do. This is what they're already looking for. So now I can start to figure out how I can conform to that. Now, some of you guys are going, well, I don't want to do that. Okay, fine. Don't. Just run your ads. That's fine. I'm talking about superior growth that you can scale even bigger over time. Okay. So, and I say this because like I've worked with people that only ran paid ads. It's all they ever did. You know what happens if that's the only thing you ever rely on? They change the algorithm. They change the platform. Guess what happened this week? Has anyone paid attention the last 48 hours with Facebook here in the US? What's going on? Yeah. Anybody seen that? Mm-hmm. Paul's nodding. Anybody else? Guys, pay attention to this shit because you're now in that world. There's a lawsuit. People are pissed. Now, it's happened before. They just, this is here in the US. So there's like 48 states have signed on to this lawsuit. The FTC is part of it. They're going after them for being a monopoly in social media. Look, they've been sued before. Okay. They have. They'll get through this. Yeah. They want to split it up. They're not going to. They'll show. And now that there's so many, the thing is more and more and more, there's new social media apps, there's new messaging apps, and so the competition keeps growing. So they're going to be fine. Right. But whenever stuff like this happens, what happens internally? They're forced to change some things, right? They are. Before 2016, right? All the nonsense they talked about, Russian collusion, blah, blah, blah. The amount of information that you could look up on an individual with Facebook and the way I could target, holy crap.
It's huge.
Yeah. Like you could target everything. Now, you really still can. You just got to know how to play with it. Right? It's just not as blatant, right? It's not like they stopped collecting that data, even though they say they stopped. Let's be real. They've still got it. So you can still use it. But my point is they're going to modify things. So what does that mean? Facebook isn't going away, but strategies will need to be modified. And if the only thing you do is paid ads, if that's it, then you're hampering yourself. Right? When I was doing cleaning restoration, my father-in-law, when I started with him, he had really one big client that made up 95% of his business, right? One corporate client with, regional offices that he did cleaning and restoration for. And then they came in and signed a national contract with a different vendor. And they kept him on to do some stuff, but about 70% of the revenue went away like that because he was relying on one thing.
1%.
So we had to rebuild back up from scratch. Now, guys, it's the same thing here. This is why we talk about ads and organic. Why I'm going to, at some point, we're going to do some training on LinkedIn because who's your target audiences? Business owners. Where are so many business owners? LinkedIn. Now, they're not getting their leads on LinkedIn, but you can get yours on LinkedIn, right? That's what it matters. That's what matters, right? Sound good? Everybody solid there? So again, pay attention to what you're doing, where you're going, and everything else. So paid traffic, which ad platforms, copywriting, this turns into how am I going to talk with them because you start to understand them. Email marketing, you don't even need to write all of your own emails. You've got some templates that you can use from us. At some point, maybe you outsource it or you learn to do some of it on your own. But part of this is staying in touch with your audience, right? Okay. Couple of extra things. So all of that stuff's really just scratching the surface. It's all about those touches. The more clarity you have on your avatar, the easier that will be. Okay, so here's some stuff on the avatar. Goals and values. This is something you want to understand. The goals and values of and when I'm talking about ideal customer, your ideal business owner customer, right? The goals and values that they have. So since we're talking about increasing their leads, their goals are more leads, more revenue, more customers, more longevity, building themselves, building their brand, building their credibility. This is what you guys are training, right? So this helps you with your content. But getting into their head, this is why understanding your niche and why you don't, if you can be passionate about it, great. At a minimum, you want to like it so that you've got something to talk about because you've got to be able to communicate with them, right? How many of you guys have ever talked with someone that is just so passionate about what they do and their job and everything else, and you're like, I don't understand at all what you were talking about, right? They're talking tech babble. How many, a few people on here may be like software engineers and or even a mechanic or something like that. Sometimes you guys get talking about something. It's like, whoa. We're a little deep. I don't know what you're talking about. You might as well be speaking Mandarin. You don't necessarily have to get that deep, but you got to be able to speak their language, right?
Yes.
Does that everybody understand why that's important? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And again, guys, I'm giving you, if you take just pieces of this, you'll be fine with the business. Some of you guys want to get serious and long-term turn into digital entrepreneurs and marketers and build yourselves your own little digital empire. Get good at this stuff. Okay. So understand their goals and values. Next, their sources of information. This is where these are questions that you can ask about your ideal customer. Excuse me. So my ideal business owner, my contractor, my financial planner, my healing coach, they'd read this, but other people wouldn't pay attention to it. They would follow this influencer, but other people wouldn't pay attention to it, right? They'd subscribe to this blog, maybe it's not magazine anymore, it's a podcast or whatever, but not, other people may not be paying attention to it. For crying out loud, there's podcasts about locksmithing and, anything you can think of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find the conferences, find the organizations that they're a part of, understand where they get their sources of information, subscribe to a handful of them because a lot of them are free, and then you're golden. Then you use some of those, frames of references and talk about what's going on in their world. They will love you for it. They're like, oh, Dara really gets it. She knows what the hell's going on in my world. Oh my gosh, Joanna, you don't have to be, a yogi or a health practitioner to understand how to talk to them, right? Challenges and pain points, understand the challenges that they're dealing with. And occasionally, guys, it's not just lead gen. Sometimes they have other challenges in their industry because of regulation or, drought or whatever, right? Okay. Next, the demographics. You've got to know this. Who are they? Their name, their age, their gender, their location. Figure this stuff out. Some of you guys have industries that are much more gender specific, and there's nothing wrong with that. Tailor your ads to that. Okay. What's their home life like? Start to judge people, everybody. Quit trying to be you can't be politically correct if you want to be a marketer. Like, that's just the reality. Okay. And if you want to argue with me about that, or you would like to discuss it in depth, we can talk one-on-one. But the reality is you've got to be able to pinpoint who you're talking to. All of those things. Now, are there people that don't necessarily, there's always an outlier for sure. But if I've defined my target market and 80% of my target market fit in a specific mold, then I'm going to talk to them. And you've got to be okay with the understanding that you may at some point alienate some people. Is that okay? Like, I get that some of you guys hear me at times and are like, I know people come in and get blown off, and that's okay. And I know the same thing, Blake knows, same thing happens there, and that's fine. But we also know we deliver. And so if you want to pay attention, then there's stuff to do. What's their work life? So again, their job role. Now, do they list themselves as a CEO or business owner? Like, think about that, guys. Some of them may not list themselves in that category on Facebook or on LinkedIn. So you've got to find a different way to go after it. Financial status. Are they typically a homeowner? Do they do, is it more commercial? Is there, what kind of truck do they drive or car do they drive? Right? All of that can be part of it. Next, again, how do they reach it? What kind of education, what kind of training do they have? Some of them are trade organizations. And so you've got to understand what that organization is, what kind of certification. You can join some of those even without becoming a paid member and then gain access to a tremendous amount of them. How much more, if I am, and I keep going back to a locksmith because that's what my dad was. If, SABTA was the Safe and Vault Technicians of America, I want to say. Good grief, it was like 25, 30 years ago. My dad was a member of that. If I join that, and if I'm trying to market to locksmiths, and I show that I'm a member of SABTA, how much more credibility do I have with those people? Right?
A lot.
So understand, if I'm going after contractors, and if I'm in the group of home builders around America and this, like there's so many of those groups, guys. Sometimes just being a part of those will help. It'll raise your credibility. Okay. Who do they hang out with or follow? So again, this is online. You can see who they're following. Pick 5, figure out who your target audience is, pick 5 of them, and then go look at their profiles. And then pick another 5 and look at their profiles. Figure out who they like, what they do, look at some of the stuff they're following. Check that stuff out. Check it out on Instagram as well. Joanna, thank you. I totally, when I say some of that stuff, I'm absolutely just fishing for compliments. So I appreciate that. So does this stuff make sense, guys?
Absolutely.
You've got to decide on your niche, do that research to make sure that there's enough there. Once you get into that and you said, yep, this is what I'm going after. Now you got to get into the target audience. And I'll tell you, because I get it occasionally, and someone put it on here, so I'm not trying to call you out individually. It's a great question. I get it all the time. What's the best niche? All of them. For crying out loud, there's so many out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that fits you best. There's so many niches that you can use to generate revenue, right? Find there's more than enough out there, guys. Just get it and go all in with it. You're not coming in. Don't come in with just a 30-day plan. Go at it. And I know a lot of you already have that. A lot of you I've talked to and your goals are fantastic because it's not just about the income. I want to make an impact. Well, damn, if you're going to make an impact, you've got to build yourself up. And in order to become a credible expert inside your category, there's more work that you need to do. But we live in 2020. You don't have to go get a postdoctorate degree in a certain category to become an expert anymore. Right?
Right.
You don't. If you solve people's problems constantly, look, all of a sudden you're there. You're good. Right? Dr. Bruce, yeah, if you're going to market to the same niche that you got certificates in, then hell yes, show that. Absolutely. Yeah. If you guys are in a niche and you're going to market a niche that you're a part of, then yes, totally. Right? And someone brought up the other day, I was talking with someone and they said, hey, I want to go after health trainers. I'm not in shape really, I feel like, to be able to do that. There's 2 ways to go after this, right? There's 2 ways. Get yourself in shape is the first one, right? Talk about your transformation, what you've gone through. That's the first way. The second way is to say, I realize I'm not in shape, but damn, I am your target audience. So I know exactly what you need to generate a lead because I'm the lead you're going after. Let me show you how to do it through marketing, right? I'm not a personal trainer. I'm a marketer, but I'm your target audience, right? It's all about your message and how you connect with them because that's what matters, right?
So you become insider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me show you what it's like for your customers behind the curtain. Let me tell you what we're looking for, right? There's different ways to go about it.
Yeah.
Get creative because you can absolutely do it. You don't have to be an expert. You're going to become the expert in that category, right? Mm-hmm. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's choosing a niche for you. Now, I'm not getting into specifics, going in and looking in Facebook and Google and everything else. You guys can do that. We've got some training there. We're adding some training, and you can find that training online. Selecting a niche it's important, but don't let that be something that you spend 60 days trying to figure out. Figure out something you like. Just make sure the numbers are there. Do a little research and go, this is what I'm going for. Because the target background information, that's something you're forever going to be doing. Right? That's not, I've got to get all this done before I start. You just got to know enough to start. You've got to get enough done to start. Right? You're not writing the Encyclopedia Britannica. You're getting out there and getting it going. Okay?
Andrew?
Yes, sir.
Will we have access to these slides and recording for today? It was pretty good. I want to go over again.
I guess. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can.
Awesome. Do we need to send you the email or?
Yeah, I don't know. V, I don't know if we've got everybody's email. Could you send emails if we have questions about what we discussed during the call? So yeah, you can send an email, but it may be better to write stuff out and have it ready for the business strategy call. If you guys haven't had the business strategy call, then that's a great time. I do go over some of this then, right? At the same time, watch this before you guys dive too much into questions. Make sure you've watched my training on branding and direct response marketing, where I get heavier into some of these same topics because they overlap, guys. So
that's
go
on the
through
13th and
those.
16th, right?
November 13th and 16th. So if
November.
your accountability representative can give you the links for it, or they can give you the link to the Google Drive where they're on. But before you start writing out too many questions, make sure we haven't answered them somewhere. And then if you've got other questions, because look, guys, the more that you learn, the more that you hear about this, the more you can see yourself building an internet business and building yourself up and becoming an expert. And that's fantastic. But during this process, questions naturally arise. And that's normal. And you should have them. And getting them answered is how you know you're making the right choice. At the same time, a lot of the answers are there available for you. And this is where you start to separate yourselves from the people that just never get themselves going, because they're stuck asking the same question over and over and over again when they've got access. Don't be the person that's sitting on the couch that's like, hand me the remote, and the remote's right next to them, right? Or that's in the kitchen getting everything, and they come down and they sit down and they go, hey, could you get me water? And you're like, I'm sitting under the blanket. You were just in there. What the hell, right? It's the same thing here, guys. You've got the answers to a lot of it, okay? So on that note, any specific questions about any of this subject of tomorrow's call? Honestly, Jess, I'm not 100% sure. The subject is something freaking awesome, and you should be here. I'm not totally sure. So if you guys, if any of you guys have some specific questions or something you want to chat about tomorrow, send me a message. If you have not yet had a business strategy call, because some of you guys haven't yet, some of you guys have been around for a while, haven't had that call yet, you need to get a hold of your accountability rep and book that, or message me and say, hey, I haven't had it yet. I need to get it booked. So message me. So with the Facebook ads, we've got a training already that's being uploaded, that's already been updated, Lynn. And the second part of that is I'm going to grab one of the accelerator coaches to come on with me and do some of that there. I'm going to have him do some of it, so you guys get to meet somebody new along with it.
Facebook ad is
it's not there yet, Lynn. I just talking with Blake last night. Well, no, you've got one that's in the accelerator, but there's some more that's gonna go in there. Huh?
Okay. Oh. Sorry, my question was, so I think you answered it already. So the Facebook ad training is not in the back office yet. It's only in the accelerator program.
There's some in the back office. There's more in the accelerator, but there's some there.
Okay.
But I'm going to grab one of the accelerator coaches and do one of these calls and go over some. There's only so much you can do, in 30 to 45 minutes.
What do you mean by back office and accelerator? I thought it was the same.
The accelerator is different than the partner program. Okay. And if you're watching the videos that Blake and I filmed, and then you get to the business strategy call. So Lynn, yeah, you've got your back office is in the accelerator. So
accelerator program. Okay.
Message. I'll have someone reach out to you, Lynn. Debbie, can you message your email so we can get you the recording here? We got everybody else's email. Debbie Dell 8910. Yeah, message your email. Okay, guys, I hope you got a little bit out of that today and learned a little bit, gave you something to think about. Even if you've already selected your niche, hopefully you get a little bit more on your, on your, everybody else, we got your email, everybody else. So Dr. Bruce, you don't have stuff in the accelerator yet. We'll talk about that. Let's get you to the business strategy. We can chat about all of that. So hopefully, even if you guys selected your niche, you learned a little bit about target audience, or just, pop something, get your mind thinking a little bit more. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody being on. Tomorrow, look forward to talking to you guys. Some of you guys I will be talking to later today anyway. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate you.
Andrew, thank you. It was awesome.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.